Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for being here. My name is Natalie Jones, and I oversee the Beltline Business Solutions office. And thank you for coming to our first quarterly business breakfast of 2025. I'd like to first start off by thanking our caterer. Did you all enjoy the breakfast this morning? Well, our catering is brought to you by Miss D's Cafe and Catering on RDA. Miss D, can you raise your hand back there? This is one of our phenomenal small businesses that we like to support. So here is the address. If you ever find your way on the west side near RDA, please stop by Miss D's Cafe and support our local small businesses. And now I'd also like to say thank you to Plywood Place. This is actually one of our favorite venues to have events in Atlanta. And so I want to welcome Emily Giordano to talk a little bit about Plywood Process.
Thank you so much. Hello, everybody. Welcome. My name is Emily Giordano, and I work with our programs and partnerships here at Plywood People. And we just want to welcome you into this space. We love having the Beltline here, and especially for this important conversation. But for those of you that don't know, Plywood People is a nonprofit. We have co-working space here as well as events, and we do programming and training, all to build a community of social impact leaders. So starting this month, in March, it's already March, right? Almost. In March, we're starting new groups of our monthly group coaching program. So if you are a leader that's trying to navigate what growth looks like in the coming year, please check us out. We have work with advisors, and you have a cohort that you go through to look at what growth means across all areas of your organization. And we have a wonderful community here. We'd love for you to be a part. So my name is Emily. My email is emily@plywoodpeople.com, and we'd love to see you here again. So welcome to the space today. Thank you.
Thank you, Emily. And now I'd like to welcome Ruben Brooks, Atlanta Beltline COO, to give a few opening remarks.
Well, thank you very, very much, Natalie, for those kind words, and good morning. Welcome on behalf of our phenomenal President and CEO, Mr. Clyde Higgs, our strategic and visionary leader, and welcome, and on behalf of the Atlanta Beltline Board of Directors and all of our phenomenal staff internally, we are very, very excited that you're here with us today and want to welcome you to our very first quarterly Beltline Business Breakfast of 2025. You guys could have been anywhere, you could have been sleeping, but you're here with us, and we value you and we appreciate you. Calvin Collins, our Vice President of Economic Development, we've had many conversations about the value of small businesses, and you guys are very, very important to me for a host of reasons. One, I come from a family of small business owners. Two, I feel like I can commiserate because I've had the opportunity to work with family in running a successful small business. But the other part of it, statistically, I'm not sure if you guys were aware that small businesses generate over 40% of the gross domestic product output. Big term for trillions of dollars in economic activity, right? The other piece is small businesses employ over 50% of the nation's workforce, right? That is significant. And the final reason is that in another life, someone asked, well, what would you do if you weren't at the Beltline? I said, you know what I'd do? I'd be president of an HBCU and I'd run a small real estate company, right? So those are some of my dreams. So I've been in you guys' position, so just know that you are always near and dear to our hearts. I think the final comment on the business front is that I was at a event over the weekend, black tie event, serve on a board, and we inducted several top business leaders into our Hall of Fame. And we inducted T. Dallas Smith. I'm sure some of you know T. Dallas Smith, phenomenal commercial real estate broker, started off 25, 30 years ago, probably the first African-American in Atlanta in that space. And what he said was, and this is what I love about being a small business owner, what he said was, look, he said, on Friday, you can be broke in that business, and on Monday, you can be rich. And that's the beauty of being a small business owner. You get the risk, you get the reward as well. But as one of the largest and most wide-ranging urban redevelopment programs, we at the Beltline, we're connecting 45 different neighborhoods And we do that via a network of public parks, multi-use trails, transit, and even affordable housing. So as we continue to make Atlanta a global beacon for inclusion, the Beltline is committed to delivering transformative infrastructure that fosters economic mobility and opportunity for all, especially you guys, small businesses. As one of our top priorities, it happens to be empowering small businesses and local businesses to be successful as you guys continue to grow and expand. So with the economic opportunity that the World Cup is bringing, we've got the best leaders, many of them from the city and other areas, in the room today. Please make sure that you ask the right questions in terms of how your business can participate, because we cannot allow this opportunity to go by without small businesses being at the front of these opportunities and maximizing the opportunities, not just sitting on the sidelines. This is your opportunity to get involved and step up and participate and get some revenue. During today's breakfast, I really do hope that you guys feel comfortable in asking all of these leaders any and all questions that you have, but know along the way, the Beltline, we're going to be co-pilot with you guys. We're going to ride alongside you guys in helping to ensure that you remain successful. So we love you. We're partnered with you guys. We'll be here. We'll have more of these forums, and we welcome you. So thank you.
Thank you, Reuben. And now I'd like to welcome Council Member Jason Dozier to give a few words as well.
Thank you so much. As Emily said earlier, I know this venue, Plywood Place, has hosted several Beltline events, and this location is actually in my district, in Atlanta City Council District 4, so welcome to District 4. And whenever Atlanta Beltline has an event here, they sometimes ask me to give welcome remarks, and last time I was dragging both of my little ankle biters with me, and so I don't have them with me this morning, but I just want to say thank you all so much for being here. As Reuben has shared, supporting our small businesses is something that's been critically important for me as a member of the Atlanta City Council. We do a lot as a city to support legacy residents, to support people who have day in, day out made the city what it is. I've always felt that our business community is a part of that equation as well. The communities that we love and hold dear and cherish and really say, they're who helps make Atlanta, Atlanta, and we want to preserve and protect that. The work that Atlanta Beltline has been doing to support our small businesses, to provide subsidies for commercial spaces, to have forums like this that are a big part of that. I was on the Invest Atlanta board for 2 years, and I want to make sure that I left my mark in that work as well. And one of the things I'm proud to announce in the coming weeks, you'll see information about a legacy business program. First time in the city of Atlanta's history that we have a program specifically dedicated to businesses that have been in our communities for decades, that are suffering the same crunch that y'all deal with every day: high rents, a rapidly shifting population of customer support, all these sorts of things, and we want to make sure that we preserve that as much as we can. So I'm only playing a small part in this ecosystem. Y'all are the ones that are doing the work day in and day out to make this city what it is. So I just want to say thank y'all for continuing to support our communities and continuing to support our city, and I'm here to make sure our city is supporting you all in the work that y'all do every day. So welcome to District 4, and I'm glad to be here today. So yeah.
Thank you. And fun fact, about a decade ago, both Councilmember Dozier and I were on the cover of Atlanta Magazine's Millennial issue. So this feels like a full circle moment for me. That was about the time that everyone was talking about how millennials were going to take over the world, and now it's all about Gen Z. So I feel a little left out, but that's okay. So at these breakfasts, I like to start off by talking a little bit about ABI and who we are, and then our economic development team. And so Atlanta Beltline, Inc. is an organization created to realize the 22-mile transit corridor along with other programmatic elements. And one of those is economic development. After many rounds of talking with business owners over a few years and other organizations that support small businesses, our economic development team came up with a framework on how to help small businesses, and it consists of 5 pillars. We call this our economic development framework. And so our team has a project manager dedicated to each of these areas of focus, and we have programmatic elements in each of these portfolios. So workforce development, we have a project manager dedicated to helping Beltline employers source talent for their unfilled positions. We work with organizations to create workforce training programs, so it kind of is a dual programming element where we're helping small businesses, but we're also helping local residents find living wage jobs as well in their neighborhoods. We have commercial district support. So the Beltline has about 19 business associations or community improvement districts, and we work in tandem with those groups to help them enhance their business corridors. Do we have any of our business associations here? Yes! Awesome. So one of the things that we do is help build their capacity, and last year we were able to award 11 of those businesses with a total of over $500,000 to work on enhancing their capacity to help their neighborhood. So that was really a really big deal for us. So congratulations to those 11 businesses. Our other pillar is digital access and innovation, and so this is where we work to bridge the digital divide by supporting technology access, digital literacy, and innovation-driven business opportunities. We've got commercial affordability. We focus on ensuring that small businesses have access to affordable commercial space. So one of the things that our office does is speak directly with businesses, and every conversation that we have, it is the same thing. We cannot afford rent. And so our first kind of opportunity to address that is our Beltline Marketplace program, where we prefabricate container spaces and have them along the Beltline. And we wrapped up our pilot with 6 businesses last year, I want to say, and then this year we have 14 businesses. So we went from 2 sites to now 6 sites, 6 businesses to now 14 businesses. So needless to say, our team is very busy. And so the last pillar is the pillar that I manage, and that's our small business support pillar. And we offer programming designed to help small businesses grow. And through those activities that align, our goal is to spur economic growth and make sure that small businesses are able to participate in the Beltline economy. So our business solutions office, this is our team. So myself and then Gabby Gordon, who is the orchestrator of this entire event. So let's give Gabby a round of applause. She does a great job here. But our team has a few different ways that we support small businesses. So our quarterly breakfast is one of them, where we try to bring leaders to talk about issues that small businesses are facing. And then we also have a quarterly newsletter called the Beltline Business Bulletin. And if you gave us your email address when you registered for this event, you are now on our listserv for that. So you'll be receiving updates from us on a quarterly basis, and even also special announcements as well. And then we do one-on-one business coaching. So we have a bench of businesses that focus, or coaches that focus on a variety of different areas to help small businesses. And then we do a Beltline market report. So I don't know if you were able to have the market report out, but we have some copies here. And that is just, we did a neighborhood gap analysis to try to understand where the retail gaps were in all of the 10 areas of the Beltline. And we created this market report so that business owners can look at real-time data to understand where they should locate their businesses based on where those gaps are. We also have a partner referral network. So we have a bench of partners that focus on everything from accounting to legal to real estate. And we pair businesses with those partners to make sure that they're getting the access that they need. And then we have a funding fair. So last year we did our very first funding fair, where we invited a lot of people that are in the access to capital space, and small business owners were able to talk with CDFIs, smaller credit unions, and also traditional banking partners to learn about their products and see how they could qualify for access to capital. And so we also have our signature program, which is Beltline Business Ventures, and that is a 10 to 12-week accelerator that provides businesses with the foundation to operate brick and mortar locations. And I think I see quite a few BBV alums here. Raise your hands. Thank y'all for your support. And so one of the great things about participating in our Beltline Business Ventures and Beltline Marketplace, oh, I'm sorry, Debbie is here from Beltline Business Ventures Artist Edition. So not only do we have a industry agnostic accelerator, we also piloted a accelerator specifically for artists, and so that was really exciting last year. So if you're a graduate of either of our Beltline Marketplace or our Beltline Business Ventures, then you have the opportunity to participate in our pitch competition. And last year, we held our very first pitch competition where we awarded 6 businesses with a total of $125,000. So again, we're trying to create tailored programming for businesses to help them get to where their goals are. And so, with that, I think we should get into why we're really here, to talk about the World Cup, right? So I'm gonna invite our panelists up and we'll get into the conversation. All right, so I'm really happy to have this conversation. We've been getting a lot of questions about what's happening around the World Cup, right? And so we decided to get these lovely people here today to talk just about that. So before we dive into the conversation, I'd like for our panelists to introduce themselves. So please share your name, your organization, the role you play in the city as it relates to the World Cup and beyond.
Cool beans. How you guys doing this morning? Y'all good. My name is Lamar Stewart. I'm Director of Initiatives and External Relations for the Mayor's Office. Bunch of words to say that I'm leading our FIFA coordination for the Mayor's Office. Excited to be here.
And my name's Noreli Garcia. I'm also excited to be here, especially with this group of people, but this room of a community gathering to really kind of plan and optimize. As the executive director of Showcase, that's my job, to make sure that you all have access to the information and visibility to the opportunities that a large-scale event like FIFA brings, but this goes beyond FIFA. So I'm excited to just start the dialogue here and today.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. My name is Aaron Sarowitz. I oversee business attraction for Invest Atlanta, and I have the pleasure of working with these fine folks on our World Cup strategy. So, you know, a lot of leveraging of resources and using the networks are what we're focused on in terms of how we're going to implement that strategy. Looking forward to it.
Thank you, and good morning. My name is Kelvin Collins, and I serve as the Vice President of Economic Development with the Atlanta Beltline, Inc. And thank you so much for being here with us today. It's been about 4 years for me with the Atlanta Beltline. And as Natalie mentioned, a few years ago, we began to reimagine economic development and made it about people, made it about community. And so this is a product of what we're attempting to do here with this breakfast. So thank you. Ask us a tough question. Let's put a plan together, and let's show what Atlanta is to the world with hosting FIFA 2026.
Awesome, thank you, Kelvin. And for those who don't know, Kelvin is my boss. And this is the first time that I've moderated a panel with him on it, so I'm gonna give him all the hard questions. Thank you, Kelvin. So I wanna talk a little bit, I'll mention this first. So when we started advertising for this program, we invited business owners and anyone else in the community to submit questions prior to the breakfast. And so if you did not have an opportunity to do that, or if there's a question that comes up while we're having this conversation, please feel free to scan this QR code, and then you can fill out the form to ask questions in real time. So I want to get into kind of big picture, right? So we have the World Cup. We've got these 8 matches that we have. But a lot of people are kind of comparing this to the Olympics. And the Olympics was 30 years ago. So Lamar, can you talk a little bit about kind of how big of a deal this is in comparison to what happened 30 years ago and some of the things that have changed?
Sure. You're spot on. I think the synergy there between 30 years, 1996 to 2026 is real. I think it is definitely going to be handled and managed totally different. One thing to know is, I guess we can just talk about the scale of the World Cup, right? So I don't know if everybody knows this, but this is off of the North American World Cup. So it's over 3 countries. So there'll be matches in Canada, there's matches here, there's matches also that'll be in Mexico. So the coordination effort they're doing is something that FIFA's never done before. So this is the first one. So the first time they've ever said that, hey, we're going to do this across areas that don't have high-speed rail, because usually if you did it, you would take the high-speed rail to different areas. No, they're going to be dealing with planes and all the logistics that kind of go with it, different hotels, different base sites that will be there. All that stuff is going to be happening across there. Atlanta's in a good position because we have this small thing called the airport, and because of that small thing called the airport, we're turning into a slight hub. So because of that, that's going to be great for us, because there are people that are going to want to extend their stay here, because it'll be easier for them to get to other locations than maybe say Kansas City. Nothing against Kansas City, but they ain't got Hartsfield. So that's one of it. I think with the amount of people that will be coming here, we also are anticipating extended stay for folks because they can't go to multiple matches, right? So somebody might get a match to say, hey, look, I got a match top of June, I got a match at the bottom of June, but I can't afford to fly in between cities, so I'm gonna fly into Atlanta top of June, and then I'll be here for a month. So I'll be here in a month, I'll be in Atlanta because my match is at the bottom end of it. I don't want to drive to Seattle for that. So there's opportunity there that we just see that's a little bit different. I think the other thing that we're looking at is that there's a lot of variability, right? So there's a lot of variability, and so a lot of things we've been messaging and putting out there is that there'll be post-draw and pre-draw planning. And what we mean by that is that depending on who we get, the times of the matches, because we're dealing with time zones, we'll have a lot of planning. We get a lot of messages about, how can I do this? Well, I don't know if we're going to be having a 8 a.m. soccer match on that day, and you had planned to do something, and that might change all that. So once we get some of the stuff after the draw, will be planning there. I think some of the pre-draw stuff that we're looking at is just getting things, opening up communication lines, setting that stuff up there. The other thing with the Olympics, I think, is with the Olympics, a lot of the coordination was handled, procurement, other things that people ask about inside of the city. 30 years moving this forward, a lot of that stuff is handled with FIFA. So FIFA is doing procurement, not the city of Atlanta. FIFA is hiring and dealing with that. Now corporate sponsors are in it, so now the corporations are kind of dealing with that. So a lot of things that we've set up now is conversations so that we're in the room, we're asking the proper questions, we're making sure that you guys are heard. But in terms of, hey, is the city handling all of the transportation? No, they're handling all that. We are helping to provide the host committee with supply vendors that, are preferred, but we're not doing the actual 1099 business license. That stuff is not happening in the city of Atlanta, which was different because I think the city of Atlanta handled transportation of the teams, the street vending, a lot of that stuff was within the city. That's not with the city now. We're now partners with them and making sure that we're partnering on safety in other areas, but that's maybe one of the bigger differences from the work side.
Thank you, Lamar. So I just wanted to set the stage for that so that we understand, what the city's handling and what FIFA is handling. And so we had the slide up here before to talk about the matches. And a lot of people look, they say, oh, we're having 8 matches. But I'd like you, Norelli, to talk a little bit about how big of a deal is this?
I mean, it's huge. And one thing I'll add to what Lamar shared with us is one of the biggest differences from 1996 is that now we're the soccer capital of North America and the growth capital of soccer in the world, right? And so at the end of the day, Atlanta is different, and we're the generation that gets to plan with the case studies that, other cities have already laid out. And so while it's so unprecedented because it's so large, 3.5 billion eyeballs, I mean, what is that, right? That's the biggest TV moment in the world. You have people day in and day out during these tournaments glued for 90 minutes and some overtime, right? Things stop. Excel spreadsheets stop for 90 minutes while this is happening. But from beginning to end, it's about 39 days. And so 8 matches is a percentage of that. And we should all be thinking, if we have game attendance for 8 matches, the larger audience is the people who can't afford a ticket, the people who are not going to go inside the stadium, the people who want to experience the excitement, walk into a pub that is actually showing the match, know that they've got Fox or Telemundo if they want to stay home. But we want people to go out and to have a reason to go out, because when World Cups are hosted in Brazil, in Russia, in South Africa, the city comes alive. And Atlanta has that blueprint already, right? We We've been hosting for more than 30 years. We have the best stadium and asset going into this tournament. I mean, Europe is envious of it. Latin America is envious of it. We should be proud of it. And so at the end of the day, a lot has changed for us. That is just a headwind for us to leverage the data to know, how can my business serve the visitors that are going to come? How is my business going to be able to reach 532,000 visitors that are going to go through Atlanta? And the plan is, if we do this right, it should be more. More people, more spend, more days, 3 meals a day, hotel, Airbnb, all of that adds up. Right now, based on the estimates of the Metro Atlanta Chamber, one of our partners, they expect the World Cup to have an economic impact of about $500 million just because it's happening. What if we attract more people? What if we give them music programming and festivals and stages and neighborhoods to engage with, and now they know about that ahead of time so they can plan to come to Atlanta irrespective of whether they are going to catch a game or get lucky enough to get that golden ticket, right? And so the opportunity is unprecedented in the sense that the World Cup is always unprecedented. This is the biggest one, so it really is. But everything it takes to do a good event is totally precedented. You invest in transportation, you have the right pedestrian walkways, you engage the businesses, you don't leave them behind. They know what to do with the FIFA brand or not, right? They know where to go to the city to get the permitting. They are connected to the associations that are going to be following this and engaging them between now and what will be what? We're like 15 months away. We're in the 400 and some days.
496 days.
Yeah, something along those lines. And so at the end of the day, you all know your businesses better. What Showcase is hoping to do is give you visibility to that amazing data that we have from our partners like Invest, the Beltline, Discover Atlanta, the ACBB, the City of Atlanta, so that you can plan, so that you can say, this is what we want to go out and do. And again, this is a moment that is going to test our ability to provide efficient customer service to international people coming from all over the world. So irrespective, keep your eye on that, figure out how your business can really get prepared for those possibilities. And along the way, we'll be rolling out programs with our partners that help guide that.
Awesome, thank you. And so I do want to go to the slide that has the QR codes for, or did y'all want to talk through this?
Sure. Hit it? Yeah. Real quick. So we learned from the Olympics, as Lamar mentioned, and so as we're going into this planning phase, the mayor has been bullish about the importance of it being the group project, right? The ultimate group project is Atlanta. But this group project is about ensuring that the FIFA host committee and its members can focus on flawless execution of the 8 games. Then you've got the City of Atlanta, which is going to focus on the things that none of us want to go wrong. Safety, security, emergency preparedness, that we're mitigating having too many people in one place or too many events with lots of people that the police didn't know about, right? So how can we really account for the important things? And so the city's focused on that. What the mayor and Arthur Blank and Carol Tomei and 20 others have come together to say, hey, what about the rest of the community? What about the small businesses? What about the rest of the days? What about the non-game attending visitors? And so Showcase was launched for that purpose, right? We're gonna keep our eye on the ball for residents, for small businesses, and for visitors alike. We don't want them leaving Atlanta and not liking it. And so we need to ensure that there is a brand to Atlanta, that there is that messaging to Atlanta, and that Showcase can help you promote it in the right way. But beyond that, we shouldn't just allow FIFA to come in to have the event and then it all leaves and nothing is different, because we don't have 532,000 people coming in August, right? And so the long-term planning for this is critical. And part of the plans that we'll be rolling out and what we're looking at is that we could retain as much as the Metro Chamber is saying we can gain just through the game, right? And so that's the idea, that instead of 500 million, we can do the right things to stimulate 1.5 billion minimum. And so again, it's precedented. So we're hopeful that we can put out the information partner program and get there together.
Awesome, thank you. So I want to switch gears for a little bit and talk a little bit about business readiness and participation. So how many small business owners do we have in the room today? That's great. Yes, thank you. How many of you all are registered with the city's procurement? Okay, I need more hands than that. Well, this is a great opportunity. So if you scan this QR code, if you are a small business owner, please, please, please get registered within the city's list of suppliers, because when the city has opportunities for contracts, they're going to send out RFPs and things like that. And if you're not registered within their system, you're not going to be able to get notified when there's an opportunity for you. And then also go to the Showcase Atlanta website and poke around. They also have some really great information on the website as well. So what is...
Hold on one second.
Yes.
At the showcase also, at the end, it's like get involved. Yes, hit the get involved button, get on the list. That's going to be mandatory. Very, very important for us getting the information out to you guys. So poke around the site. It's really good. It's a really great site. Great job. But make sure to also fill out that part. So
yes, get involved. Thank you, Lamar, for that. So what's the best way to prepare for the World Cup opportunities? Are there key differences in how B2C or B2B businesses should approach preparation?
All right. Well, I guess that's me. Yeah, I think what you're doing this morning is exactly what you need to be doing. Just getting involved, getting the information early. Because even though it's 15 months away, however many days.
496 days.
5 quarters.
He passed the test. Good. But I think getting involved and also, connecting with your networks, right? Many voices are a lot louder and stronger than just one. So if you work with your networks, with your business associations, that's the number one thing, I think. But we'll be, and getting connected with Showcase Atlanta, so you can get the information that we're pushing out. Because this group and all the other people that we're working with, organizations that we're working with, are working behind the scenes to make sure that there's programming, that there's support, that there's all kinds of things to help small business. Because that's really going to be what gives the visitors the experience, the Atlanta experience. We have so many, culturally, we're so much, I don't want to say superior, but a little bit better than all of the other cities that are being involved. So we want to showcase that. No pun intended there, and showcase your business. So that's what we're here to do.
One other recommendation or suggestion is, if you're serious about the opportunity with the World Cup in June and July, all of the Premier Leagues are going to be here for the FIFA Club World Cup. We have 3 matches, but all of the teams that are going to be playing in this tournament, irrespective of whether the game is in Atlanta, is staying in Atlanta, right? We are the hub for soccer. And so I share that only because if you want to test, pilot, learn, talk to people, the club won't bring as many people as the World Cup because it's not a World Cup. But buy tickets, go. Figure out how you can get a permit and test something you want to do next year so that you can learn. No matter what, we've got Messi in town because Inter Miami is one of those matches. We've got Manchester. We've got Chelsea. So it's not nothing that's happening in June. It's kind of that precursor to next year. And so we're looking at it as a piloting opportunity. I know FIFA has also put it there so that everybody can work out the kinks before next year. And so that includes all of you, right? What are those things that you're seeking to do? And you might not cross the finish line by June, but by attempting, you're going to be in a really good position for what is capitalizing on 2026.
Great, thank you. Lamar, can you talk a little bit about the clean zones and the different zones and what that means?
Absolutely. We get a lot of questions about this. So I've had more people say, hey, I would love to have my t-shirt company print up FIFA stuff. You can't. And I don't know how else to say it. I don't know how else to put it to you. You can't. All right. So
Can you say that again?
You can't. So there's no other way to say that and put it out there. As you guys know, some of the coordinations that, I think a lot of us are familiar with Super Bowl. You just can't print up NFL shirts. You can't even say Super Bowl. They had to change things to say big game. Now people get, creative and say soccer extravaganza. Hey, that is your prerogative, but they are very serious about their IP. They're very serious about their logos being used. They're very serious about that's one thing that they have let that come down from the host committee to everybody. So we get it, we understand it, but we are messaging accordingly that we're wanting to be good host as somebody comes here, and so those are areas that they're taking very serious right now. In terms of that green zone, clean zone area, there is an area that they are tracking out that'll be 3 miles, let's say, square miles around the stadium, right? People have heard about this before. We are saying that it is not set in stone yet. So one of those things that is, as they're going from city to city and place to place, they're changing up these security models like this. As things change, administrations change, things happen, they're changing these things up. So coming here and getting on these lists is important so that we can try to say, hey, listen, in this, 3.4 square miles now, this is where the clean zone will be, this is where fencing will be, this is how things will affect your business, this is where entry points will be. So we want to get that message out as soon as possible, but that part is still in the planning phase. So they got another meeting coming up soon to come in to kind of solidify, and then from there I know the city is also looking at maybe extending it, because I think people can understand that they want to make sure this is the safest it could be. And so they're making sure that, hey, we don't know if we want cars this close. We don't know how we want to deal with drones. We don't know how we want to deal with this thing. Speaking frankly, we're open carry state. So those things right there are things that they're looking at because they're coming from it. How do we make sure this is safe as possible? So once those things are solidified, that's a big domino that they'll be able to say, all right, this we know is the perimeter area. These are the people that are being affected. These are entry points and stuff like that. So
awesome. Thank you.
But again, you can't. I'm sorry.
I do just want to add that, for those of you who can, I would just come up with I'm inside the perimeter or I'm not inside the perimeter plan, right? I mean, some of you know where you already are located. You can go to the city's neighborhood planning, download the map of the 3 miles around Mercedes-Benz Stadium, and not wait for the city to tell you what FIFA decided 3 months down the line. So if you have the ability to contingency plan, if I'm inside the perimeter, great, and this is how I'm gonna handle it. If I am a starring character outside of the perimeter, this is my plan.
That's a great point. So can we talk a little bit about pop-ups? So I'm sorry, can you go back to the other side? Will there be pop-ups in the city? And how can small businesses take advantage of that?
So I think there's a thing we have to designate, right? So FIFA there are things that will be FIFA official, and there will be areas that will be, hey, these things are happening because FIFA's here. And so I think those are the very clear part. The mayor is very clear. He's told all of us multiple times, I want to activate the city. I want things to be, thriving in the city. I know that I have residents who are saying, hey, listen, there's no way on God's green earth I'm going anywhere near that stadium when this is all happening. But they would love to come off the Beltline and be over here off Lee and White and be like, hey, there's an activation over here. I ain't got to go over there, and this feels great, right? So in terms of that, I do believe there'll be pop-up opportunities in some of these areas that will be activated during the city. I think that absolutely. In terms of what's going to be going on inside of that area, there are preliminary talks about what they will want to have inside of that area around the stadium. Some people are familiar with it, some people are not. There's a big thing called the Fan Fest. It's huge. If you've ever seen the soccer matches and they'll take the camera to the people they scored a goal, they're throwing water and beer in the air and they're screaming. Yeah, one of those, they're looking at absolutely having at Centennial Park. They're still in the planning phases, which will be a big domino again of how many days, is it match days, is it not match days, is it every other day? And so those are one of the things that once that kind of gets solidified, they will also know about the opportunities, because they're going to want to have vending and food and other stuff inside of these areas, but that part is still in the planning phase. So there'll be opportunities. I just think that we need to say between what those two things look like, the FIFA and the FIFA adjacent, of what those will be.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to jump in and say, in terms of going back to the preparation portion of it, some businesses don't operate with a City of Atlanta business license, not asking, not checking. If that's you, make sure that's one of the first steps that you take, because almost anything that you can participate in with this event, but also within the city, that's going to be part of like the application or something that they're going to evaluate. So that's, part of the preparation, getting involved, but then also making sure that, you can have all your ducks in a row for, for any applications or any participation that you do want to get involved with.
That's a really great point. So I want to draw your attention to what's on the screen. So if you scan this QR code, you'll have access to this document. And this is FIFA's intellectual property guideline. So this will be able to tell you what you can and cannot do with the FIFA brand, which not much. But it will tell you a specific list of words that you cannot use when you are designing your merchandise and you are trying to brand different products to participate in this event. So I think that this is a really handy document for everyone to look through so that you don't get fined and get in trouble. I want to throw it over to Invest Atlanta for a couple of minutes to talk a little bit about what your plans are for activating during the World Cup and what you all are thinking about as far as your strategy.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a number of things. First of all, Councilmember Dozier mentioned the Legacy Business Program. Part of that is going to be an app directory that you all can be a part of. Legacy businesses are going to be kind of the first businesses that we focus on within the app in the directory portion. And then we're going to kind of get the kinks out of that, and that's coming soon, so more to come on this. But that'll be launched, I think, before the end of the first quarter. So then, as we kind of get the kinks out, make sure that we're operating smoothly, we'll open that up to more of a business directory to make sure that your business can be found from a visitor, found from people who are already here, things like that. And that will include kind of maps, being able to locate, all right, this street is closed, so I can, come to your restaurant the alternate route, right? So more to come on that. There's a number of other things. So I think technical assistance, how to work with FIFA, all of those things are crucially important. So we're going to be launching technical assistance programming. So maybe one big day, and then kind of follow-up sessions, whether you're trying to explore and beef up your marketing, trying to figure out, hey, how can I make my payment operations a little bit smoother, or get them up to maybe the 21st century. I haven't been able to focus on that because you're working on the day-to-day operations, right? So all of those things, getting ready for this FIFA is the World Cup is paramount. So we'll have support for you, and I don't want to say it's free of charge at this point, but that's the goal, right? So we need to figure out sponsorships and funding for that. So that's coming up, and then also throughout that technical assistance program, you're learning about, hey, I can use this a Square to accept payments, but that's awesome, but how am I going to be able to purchase that and incorporate that? So developing a grant program for businesses that need some support to gear up for the World Cup and beyond, right? Our goal isn't just to get you ready for the World Cup and then see you later, good luck. We want you to be able to succeed throughout the lifespan of your business. And then finally, in all of this stuff, I have further information. So after the program, you can grab me and we can talk. But then, kind of talking about a little bit more about pop-ups and things. Invest Atlanta owns some retail space downtown, and a big thing for ABI is commercial affordability. So we want to white box some of those spaces and provide some subsidize some affordable retail space for some of our small businesses who might be in between leases or might be looking to scale up and have a footprint downtown in that kind of 3-mile core. So getting that ready, more to come on that, but that'll be up and running for the World Cup as well. So we have a lot in the hopper. Looking forward to kind of complete it. Like I said, more information to come. So get connected, and we'll get more information to you.
Awesome. Kelvin, do you want to talk a little bit about what we have going on at the Beltline?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Natalie. And so think about the Beltline as probably the most feasible way for our visitors to experience what makes Atlanta amazing, right? So 3 things I want us to think about when it comes to the Beltline priorities. First, the Beltline will deliver connectivity. Okay, by the time summer of 2026, we are racing to complete just about 18 miles of trail that connects the east side trail all the way over to the west side of the Beltline. Now that's going to be huge. We kind of call that the smiley face of the Beltline. Imagine a visitor starting off on Ponce City Market and really walking all the way or biking all the way over to Lee and White. It's going to be phenomenal. Now, we have this thing called the federal freeze, right? That may throw a bit of wrinkle in that, but as we are operating as close to normal at this moment, and our design and construction team is racing to complete almost 18 miles of continuous trail to deliver connectivity prior to FIFA World Cup. That's huge. Secondly, it's about community and culture for the Beltline. How do we use FIFA World Cup as an opportunity to connect into what makes Atlanta amazing, right? The people, the arts, how do we have guided tours, art walk? How do we make sure that the people don't get left out of the experience? So community and culture is going to be a critical part of it. We're looking to do an activation plan, a comprehensive activation plan for the Beltline. A huge part of that is going to be safety and security. That is a huge part of it. Are there soft spots around the Beltline? Should we be looking at implementing some technology enhancements? Right now, we are looking to aggressively put a smart cities pilot in place that can deliver greater safety and security options, right? Do we have mass notifications? Do we have CCTV cameras around the Beltline that can ensure that should something happen, we have a great way to engage with APD and others to make sure that we minimize any issues around safety and security. But we haven't done nothing over the last several months. We've been building programs aggressively, and one of the great things that we've done is have a number of small business programs that are currently ready to go and ready to tweak to become critical in FIFA World Cup readiness for small businesses, right? So for example, we have our second Saturdays, and I think Amici is in the room, or Indie Experience, there's Amici, where businesses are popping up second Saturdays around the Beltline. That is gonna be a quick activation and scalable endeavor come FIFA of 2026. Secondly, we have our Beltline Marketplace. Are there any marketplace businesses in the room right now with us? There we go. These businesses are going to be in shipping containers along the Beltline at 4 different locations. They are going to have an amazing opportunity to showcase their wares. And fourthly, we have an opportunity to think about how do we scale our Beltline Business Ventures program in a very thoughtful way to make sure that businesses are ready to take advantage of new customers that are international, right, that may have a different language. How do we prepare these businesses? So there are a number of things that are on the way that we're thinking about right now that can make sure businesses are ready for FIFA World Cup 2026.
Awesome, thank you. So I do want to make sure that we have time for audience Q&A. Does anyone have any questions?
Going back to the question about, or the statement about having an app that's available to kind of map everything out around the stadium, is there a way, and forgive me if this is already in play, to tie the Beltline into that? So, every business that's on the Beltline is located in there, so people can map their way around or plan their trip on the Beltline during World Cup and any other time.
Yeah, that's a fantastic question. There is an aggressive body of work right now being advanced around our smart cities endeavor around the Beltline, where we're leveraging about 16 miles of dark fiber that we currently have around the Beltline to bring technology solutions to the Beltline. One of those ideas is a concept of an app. The second is that we're going to have digital kiosk around the Beltline that can really help visitors understand where they are and how they can experience various parts of the Beltline. The communities that are right adjacent to the Beltline. What if you want to be in West End or Little Five Points? How do you know you're 2 minutes away from there, right? So these digital kiosks are going to be critical in that endeavor. So yes, we're thinking about technology enhancements, and that to me is going to be a critical complement to how a visitor experiences the World Cup along the Beltline.
And then Lamar, can you talk a little bit about the city's wayfinding efforts?
Sure. In the downtown corridor area, there's a study we should be launching soon that will be updating our wayfinding down there. Designs have been put out that will be good to go and ready to rock by the end of June. That will do updating to kind of not just be for World Cup, but we're kind of turning into this large scale event Mecca hub place, right? So we want to do something that can last for a very, very long time. So there's definitely a $4 million have been looked to be invested into wayfinding there in the downtown area that can guide people to certain areas, but it wants to be, but the thing that we're looking at is like, how do we modernize it in a good way? You go to other cities or whatever else, and you'll look and you'll see like these 3 things, you don't know what it is, and you turn to the side and it's like, oh, go this way, and you're like, wow, that's amazing that they made an Instagram moment with these 3 things. And so we're trying to look at like, how do we kind of upgrade this stuff to that actually is not just wayfinding, but it's also like some type of art and something that can really put a stamp on the city. The mayor looks for Instagram moments for the city, so he wants to so that's definitely looking to be done by World Cup.
Thank you. And the reason why I mentioned that is because the Beltline is a 22-mile transit corridor, but a lot of people think that the Beltline is just the trail, but the Beltline planning area consists of anything that is a half a mile on either side of the trail, and wayfinding is a really important project for us so that we can not only get people to the trail, but then also get them off of the trail and into our various commercial districts. So it'll be important for us during the World Cup time to be able to make sure that not only the businesses that are directly related off the trail are getting love, but also the ones that are deeper inside of our commercial districts.
I wanted to add one other thing. He used a good word, aggressive. We're also having aggressive conversations about how the culture and our city can be highlighted in the FIFA app. We're very clear that the FIFA app is probably going to be one of the biggest things to kind of get people there, right? So I think that if you come to a city, you Google or whatever it is, it's going to be hard to pinpoint it. But we know the app, if there's 500,000 people coming, their tickets are on it, it's a way to it. So they know there'll be a city section. So we're working with their team to find out what's going to be in the city section in terms of mapping and where certain areas are going to be, businesses will be highlighted that go on that. So that is definitely happening all about that we're moving aggressively and making sure that we have input in what's in that.
To piggyback on the digital wayfinders that you guys are creating. So outside of businesses that are not there, what, opportunities will you have for digital and physical ad spaces? Since that's a big thing, especially if you're not close to the Beltline, how can we advertise on that and still tap in?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think a week or 2 weeks ago, we were talking about ads and on digital kiosks. So I think there's going to be a huge opportunity for small businesses to participate in the kiosks that we're going to be putting on the Beltline. In fact, this year, we're going to pilot 2 of those this current year. And hopefully by the time World Cup comes around, we will likely be able to scale a handful of other kiosks around critical locations around the Beltline. But there's going to be an opportunity not just to point visitors to various neighborhoods, but also to present an opportunity for businesses to showcase what they're doing on the kiosk as well. And we'll be thoughtful about pricing, right, for local businesses, right? We'll be thoughtful about the nature of the ads. There's a whole sort of energy around that internally. We'll be working with our marketing and communication team to be thoughtful about that, but also working with our community partners to make sure that local businesses are well represented within those digital spaces.
I have a question around connecting us to our local corporate sponsors that will be heavily involved in FIFA. I'm assuming the Coca-Colas and Home Depots out there. Is there a way that we can, or you guys are thinking about connecting small businesses to them, so where they activate, they're including those of us that are small businesses? And I think the airport has done a great job of making sure that the big guys have to include the little guys. So I'd love to know if there's any thought around that for FIFA.
Sure, there's absolutely thought about that. So we are, kind of the way things work here is the sponsors work with the host committee, and then the host committee says, hey, let me provide you with certain lists. So there's talk right now about how we can gather and have input into that. I know that the host committee has been very clear with FIFA and the other businesses that we want to make sure that local businesses are taken care of. We want to make sure local suppliers are there. Again, these are, whereas some of the initial parts of the planning, it has been vocalized multiple times, and there's been agreement that we'll work on that. But as I said before, they're still waiting for some more dominoes to fall before they start to say where these goes. But there's definitely a place right now where we're trying to make sure that we can kind of collectively be able to supply something to them so they can have it. So that's work being worked on right now, so we can make sure we can streamline the communication. Because what we have talked about and how we kind of got here is that we know small businesses, sometimes some of the fatigue comes because you go to the Invest Atlanta, they tell you, well, you need to go talk to the Beltline, and the Beltline says, no, that's with the city. And so we're trying to do something where we can make sure that, you know, you have a centralized place that you can go to answer, get these questions quickly, because you ain't got time to be running to 4-5 of us to try to get information. So we're trying to make sure we serve like that, okay?
Yeah, and I'll just add quickly to that, Lamar. There is an effort that is behind the scenes, and thanks to Lamar and others, Invest Atlanta, that there's going to be a coordination team within the city that includes Invest, Metro Chamber, the Beltline, to really ensure that there's a single door and really seamless opportunity and engagement for small businesses. Back to your question about corporate opportunities and sponsorship. Within the Beltline activation plan, which we're currently crafting, and over the next couple of months we'll be able to finalize that, there's going to be a vertical for corporate engagement. That is going to be huge, and we think that there is an opportunity for alignment with small businesses, not just the Beltline brand, but who are the small businesses that we're bringing alongside the Beltline, and how do we use the Beltline's influence to open up opportunities. And you mentioned the airport, and I'm not going to say too much about that, but just maybe, the airport as well. All right.
It's G14 classified, y'all.
How you all doing? My question is, may I do a very brief introduction of who I am?
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Okay. How you all doing? My name is Michael Scott. I was invited here like this morning by my mentor, Jay White. I am the founder and the executive producer of the E-Athlete. The E-Athlete is a transformative brand designed to empower people to focus on their capabilities over their disabilities and be their highest and best self. The story was inspired by my brother who was born physically limb different, and it was my senior thesis script my senior year at Morehouse. I got my degree in filmmaking, and it's about a physically impaired teenager born to a family of athletes, getting a full athletic scholarship to play video games, inspired by my family. I played collegiate basketball. My brother played collegiate basketball. My sister's trained to be a pro tennis player. And my brother, who was born limb different, what he became best at competing at was video games. So that's what the story is about. I've been offered multiple times for the script, but instead of me selling the rights to it, I decided to produce it myself and build into a whole brand to help impact the lives of people like yourself. And if everybody could, very briefly, please follow us on Instagram, _E_athlete. The book is getting ready to come out next month, and we're looking to utilize this story to help impact the lives of everybody that we come in contact with. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
We'll start with you. Start with my big mouth. Hi, everyone. My name is Lily Paby, and I'm the Executive Director of We Love Buford Highway, and I am here to represent the immigrant businesses that have brought the world to Atlanta for 50 years. So my question is, how do we play? How do these businesses get involved? And, is this centered in Atlanta ITP, or is this a little bit creeping out? You had mentioned ITP, OTP. How does this work? Do they, is it all going to be in here? How do we organize best? And, just kind of want to get some idea of how you guys are going to market all of Atlanta.
Yeah, no, first of all, I love Buford Highway, so I'm excited. And when I'm in meetings, I really think, I'm like, are we putting lights? Is there a bus? Can I go pay $25 and eat all the tacos and not have to worry about it? And so at the end of the day, it's the same answer for everybody. What should we do? What are you doing? What do the businesses want to do? What do you need, right? And so in essence, I think every small business, every neighborhood, every kind of local area should define that. And we're here to facilitate access to what's happening officially, but again, waiting for official information to do something that has nothing to do with that is waiting for nothing. And so I would say, what does Buford Highway want to do? Yeah.
So we work with destination organizations, right? I'm on the board for Explore Brookhaven. We've got relationships with Discover DeKalb. Is that the channel to get to the Atlanta visitor? Like, how do we get in?
So showcase, get involved, the same button, right? Only because ACVB, Invest Atlanta, the Beltline, the Metro Atlanta Chamber, the Georgia Hispanic Chamber of Commerce are there. We also have corporations, right, that are helping on what is this opportunity for us to connect with our own local communities, right? The Home Depot is on, Cox is on, UPS, Delta. And so at the end of the day, what we have committed to is let's put out a plan of what Atlanta is going to do, focus on what's happening. But the plan has to be executed by Atlanta, right? And so the neighborhoods are represented on our ambassadors so that we can work through the NPUs and listen and go back and forth. But honestly, I would just dream up of what it can be, and then in the get involved, tell us what that is, and we'll continue the dialogue. What we're going to stay focused on is that the host city has this organized, but in essence, Atlanta is the entire DMA, right? So when you arrive into a city, it's not, okay, I'm outside the perimeter now of downtown, of FIFA, right? And so at the end of the day, we want to make sure that we nail the host city and what we need to do, but that everybody's brought along to what we're planning on doing and that we're hearing about what they need and helping to navigate and facilitate. So get involved, and I'd love to keep the conversation going.
I would want to add one other part. I see you, boss man. Somebody said earlier, they were like, the meme where like dogs drinking the tea and the fire's all around them, and he's like, everything's okay. So one, I think there's one thing we want to message out is, and a lot of the effort, you haven't missed anything. And I think that's one thing we're trying to really put out to everybody is that you haven't missed anything. We've heard you, we're in the rooms, and if there's anything that I feel great about is that there has been concerted efforts to open up lines of communication and work together and make sure that we're supplying the information as quickly as possible. So when we say, hey, sign up to get in on this, we're doing that on purpose because a lot of us are in the same room being like, how do we make sure to get this information? Because we don't want to have people confused. So we're saying this to say that a lot of stuff that you're looking for they're still in the planning phase. But we wanted to set up a space and time so that way we can make sure that we could get it to you quickly. So I'll give an example. Everybody's asking about public viewing. They want to have a block party, public viewing, they want to have it. That information won't be coming out until September, right? That's a long way away. That's not our decision. That is from FIFA. That's when they'll be making the decision. But we want to make sure that once those decisions have been made, we can get the information as quickly as possible, so somebody's not looking at us at the following March like, hey, man, I want to do a viewing party. I'm like, sorry, that was back in September. So that's one thing I wanted just to kind of say is that we're literally, I feel great about the rooms that are being created, the conversations that's happening between FIFA and the host committee and the city and all of these city partners who are all come together to say, hey, listen, how do we make sure that we can, attack all of these different little tentacles there. So that's one thing I just wanted to say.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Destry Carasquillo. I am the president of the Food Truck Association of Georgia and currently represent a few hundred mobile licensed and permitted food businesses in the city of Atlanta. And I just wanted to ask if eventually there's going to be some kind of hub for us to register in the event that our local food businesses can be involved in any activations that are going to take place during the events.
How do we say this? We're working on definitely a hub right now. Again, I'll say, please sign up for that. So some of the things that we're working on, we're trying to get the kinks to make sure it comes as quickly as possible, but we're absolutely working on a way that we can condense and make sure that, like I said, you don't have to run to 3 or 4 different places to kind of be involved. Because I think everybody kind of knows this, but there are almost 3 municipalities that are having to work on the official FIFA stuff, right? So you have GWCC, which is the state. So the state is its own entity. You also have the stadium. That's its own entity. Then you have the city of Atlanta. So I know that sometimes people are like, hey, who do I go to for this type of thing? And we'll try to be like, oh, you got to talk to the state about that. We're working to, it could be one centralized place that you can send messaging to and you can get information out. So that way we can kind of clear up some of these things and areas.
Yeah, and as you get registered through that single door, imagine potential activation locations around the Beltline, right? Whether or not it's ABI-owned properties, right? Whether or not it's 356 University next to Pittsburgh Yards, or whether or not it's over here on the west side of Atlanta, whether or not it's us partnering with open spaces that exist, we will in time be able to share where these activation locations are happening for food trucks or for art installations or for, just pop-up businesses or even just for viewing events. So again, get through the right door, register, and all the information as they get finalized will be shared so that opportunities will be spread equally to those who are interested.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. So I'm Jay White. I own Pedicabs ATL. So you probably passed a bike when you walk through the front door. That's us. The question that I have around that, which is transportation, is there anything in place to insulate us from people traveling from other cities who have in the past come here and made it difficult for residents, break-ins, thefts, robberies, cars vandalized? Is there something a department put in place that is a gatekeeper for those traveling, coming here from different cities and states to do business who have not gone through the vetting process, not with Invest Atlanta, not a City of Atlanta business license or procurement? Is there anything put in place? And if not, I would love to work with one of the organizations to make sure that we can do that.
So that's a 2-part, right? So one was about outside business, the other was about bad actors, right? So I'll stick on both of it. From the bad actors, some of the coordination efforts that maybe have slowed down, maybe from the security, they're taking security very seriously. Very, very seriously. It is a huge, huge effort that emergency preparedness in the state and from the airport, everybody, they are meeting religiously to put together a good plan. So FIFA asked for a security plan that's been submitted. They're having their plan they'll implement, and then there's another plan to say, hey, listen, I know FIFA might be saying this is where they want to stop stuff. Maybe we push it out a little bit more to ensure safety where we're going to go. So I want to let you be very clear that safety is taken extremely seriously. Like she said, that was one of the main things to say, hey, listen, we want a safe World Cup experience. That is one of the #1 things that has been put out for everybody.
Working out of the safety office.
Yes, we are working out of okay. Yes, I see the board. Correct. It's a lot of dots on it and sticky notes. All right. The other part about you just said about, is there, areas to say to protect businesses? There's absolutely, like I said, a communication that has been happening to make sure that FIFA is receiving, hey, these are, if you're looking for caterers or florists or what it is, these are some of the preferred vendors that we should be looking at to have. I think we've been to a football game. I don't know if you can stop somebody from, you can put a table out and some lemonade, and they're there. But in terms of the official areas that they're going to be in, it's a concerted effort to basically champion our local and small businesses. And that's come from not just the host committee, but as I said earlier, from the larger businesses. They are also, the larger corporate sponsors are also been notified, said they want to work with that. So that is definitely being championed.
Hi, everyone. My name is Imani. How are you guys doing today?
Hey, Imani.
Hey. So I'm coming with a two-parter for the arts and cultures component. So currently, the nonprofit that I run, we're working with Spelman, Morehouse, and Clark with the creative entrepreneurship students, teaching them how to grow and scale their businesses, and also helping them with internship and employment opportunities. So my first question is, how are you guys with the FIFA World Cup coming, including the youth with employment opportunities, and also engaging with the youth along the Beltline for, let's say, art installations? And also the second question is, are you guys open to proposals for VR and XR realities along the Beltline or throughout the city as ways for people to engage as well?
Yeah, the simple answer is absolutely. And I'll take the last question first. We think guided tours, VR, AR experiences are going to be a key part of what a visitor be interested in order to experience the Beltline. We are very close to bringing on board a tour operator for the Beltline in time to prepare for the increased demand for guided tours, not public tours, but really thoughtful guided tours around the Beltline to experience various parts. So there's going to be an art component there. We think that's going to be important. There's just so much to showcase around the Beltline when it comes to art. Young people, yes, we should absolutely be thinking about how they get involved in that experience as well, and I would love to talk with you some more. We just hired at the Beltline a new art director, and she has some fantastic ideas, and we would love to continue that conversation because we think the community needs to be fully engaged at all levels when it comes to FIFA 2026.
Good morning. My name is Jennifer Barbosa with International Supply Partners. I also sit as the co-chair for the Atlanta Black Chamber's Global Opportunities Committee. And we focus on bringing especially black businesses to collaborate globally. And we have members from over 50 countries within our committee. And our goal is to try to find out how can other black businesses who are looking to do business, establish business here in Atlanta, collaborate with other local businesses, get involved within the World Cup. I know the mayor has a big initiative about making the city international, so.
Sure. I'll preface and say that absolutely, there wants to be an effort to be there. As many people I know, there was a trip to South Africa, a mission trip in December. I will say as of right now, there is a definite effort to happen. I also have to be, and Jennifer, you know this, transparent that because of some of the things that are coming, executive orders that are coming out of the federal government is causing some roadblocks to try to make that happen. I'm saying that delicately. Yeah, I'm trying. Hey, listen, y'all got cameras? Don't do this to me. All right, so there is absolutely an effort to want to make that happen. I think we're all right now trying to look at a new playbook and how we can make that happen efficiently, quickly, especially during that time period. I think we've had conversations about utilizing some of those connections and connecting some of that stuff prior to and a little bit after the World Cup and during that time period, only because that goes into what we talked about with Showcase. Showcase, you want to extend the stay. You want to highlight Atlanta. You want them to have it here. So the more activations and things that we have going on during World Cup, you have more people who will say, I'll just stay a little bit longer. Oh, they're going to have a African Connection Week there during this time, but when I was going to go to the game, I might as well stay for the whole week. That's great for the city. That's great. More, hotel stays, more of that. So there's definitely a conversation that we're having, but I want to be transparent that there is some, at this current time, some things that we're having to navigate. If that, did I do good? Did I navigate it? All right, cool. All right.
Yeah, that was good. They can also get connected and be an official FIFA like business distributor. Get in that distribution list, so they can be an approved kind of FIFA vendor as well. I think that's probably the easiest way, right?
Showcase will be the avenue. Yes. And Jen, it's all good. Jen, I got your number, so I'll send it to you. So yes, no, that's the best way.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Jared Turner. I'm the CEO of Veterans Technology Solutions, and I wanted to know what opportunities do you have for veterans? I'm not saying anything, but Georgia supports the nation. We're number 4 when it comes to supporting the nation in different combat operations. And honestly, everybody wants to deploy us. Everybody says thank you for your service. But when it comes to opportunities at venues like this, especially when we have great partners like IBM and Copilot, we don't get a seat at the table. So again, not saying anything to you guys. I'm just saying there should be a level of accountability, because when you need us, it's not like everybody's putting their hands up. But when we come back home from real combat operations, we never get the opportunities. So what opportunities do you have specifically for veteran-owned companies, and how are you advertising those opportunities to those veterans?
I'll at least speak for Showcase in the sense that we don't have any specific opportunities for veterans. We just have visibility to the opportunities that are happening because of the event. And so the first opportunity, and we've talked about this Get Involved button, but it's the way that we can then put that into our CRM. We're working on a database of everybody who can be a vendor or supplier. And we're now in our second round of FIFA asking, right? We need these types of vendors. We're looking for these types of things. That's a process that will continue probably till June. And so at the end of the day, I think the best thing to do is, one, to continue to advocate so that we don't lose sight of that. But in essence, again, the idea here is, how can we upskill talent? All of it, right? How can we engage the youth? All of it. And so in those types of more socially focused programming, I think there will be more specific considerations for underserved populations that, of course, deserve that better treatment. But the idea here is what is possible because this event is happening, and how can you participate wherever that applies to you or to your membership. And so at least we'll be putting out the call to say, these are the types of businesses FIFA is looking for these types of things. Get on the list, right? And then we'll be facilitating that list. And Lamar, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's just going to continue, right? And it's part of what we're going to continue to do. So I hope that we can, one, talk more, but let us know what services are there, because once we get those asked, we'll be able to connect it back to the folks we've met.
Thank you. And unfortunately, we're running out of time, so this is going to be our last question, but it's not our last conversation. So go ahead.
I'll make it good. Hey, y'all, my name is Britt. I'm a Grove Park resident, and I'm on the board of the Northwest Business Association with my friend Jen here. She volunteered me to join, so I'm here. And my question is around durability and longevity. So I have only been here for 2.5, 3 years. This is my 7th city, but I love what the Beltline has done for this city. I think this is incredible. This is the best process I have seen in all the 7 cities I have lived in. But yeah, it's amazing.
We're always being yelled at, so thank you so much.
Yeah, I got to give y'all taking some heat up there. I'm going to give you some praise. However, that being said, I was told that the durability of things that happened after the Olympics wasn't there. And so my question is, what durable items are you expecting to stay after FIFA? Is it the grant programs? Is it the activations? What are the durable things? I told you I was going to be a good one. What are the durable things that you expect to stay?
So I'm going to pass the mic for that specific reason. But what I want to say is that this is specifically why Showcase was created, right? So Showcase was created because the mayor said, I need us to be looking at these large-scale events through an equity and accessibility lens. So when Norelli said initially, yeah, this is bigger than that, that was the whole thought, is that right now down the pipeline, we have Final Fours, we have a Super Bowl coming, we have, love Beyonce, we have, and so we want to have these partners who do great things start to say that it's different when you have somebody in the room to be like, hey, I know all the work you do, but I want to look through this specific lens on how we can amplify and help small businesses there. Because Invest Atlanta and Beltline do great for small businesses. Phenomenal job. But we want to make sure that somebody's there to be like, all right, cool, I want us to look at this slightly different with a large-scale events lens to it, how we can help to have readiness there in that space. I will pass to the showcase director who's next to me.
No, I love that. I'll just say a couple of things, and that is, in order to have a lasting legacy, you have to plan for it. And so that's what we're doing, right? We have I hate saying working group subcommittee, but that's what's happening. What are the legacy things that we can leave behind? Is it the new park? Is it Wi-Fi in places we don't have it? What is that? And so there's a lot of thought going into that, but at a high level, this is really a tourism opportunity. The majority of a tourism opportunity is in hospitality, in transportation, in lodging, in eating, in drinking. The best tax revenue margin we have is in alcohol beverages, right? So the idea is, how can we use this moment in time to maximize it before it even gets here, like the club, like All-Star, all of those things, but then ensure that by doing the right things, we get the same return other cities have gotten in how many people come and visit you for the 2-3 years after a major event. The majority of the people who are going to see Atlanta are going to be sitting at home somewhere else, but they might consider coming to Atlanta because they're like, wait, that fan fest looked cool, and the World of Coke was there, and the aquarium was here, and looks kind of friendly and fun, and there's nightlife and, you know, restaurants, and so we're planning for it. You all should inform what that is. The idea can come from anywhere, but what we do know is that we'll lose if we don't have line of sight to that. So what we committed to is that prior to any large-scale event, we will put out a plan of what the city's plan is on a combined basis. And after that event, we will report out what the economic impact is, who it benefited, and what the social impact is that's left behind. And so we're committed to that. It's a group project, as the mayor liked to say. I think it's really group sports, because we got 400 and, you know, however many days. And so we need all of you, but we need a plan for the legacy. And so that work is underway.
Yeah, and I think that's a great question and a great way to wrap up. And I say the Beltline, as you know, is built to last. The Beltline is about connectivity, and many of you know there is a connected trail already that takes you right into Mercedes-Benz Stadium. How many of you know that? The West Side Connector takes you directly into so that's built already in place. We are investing in our commercial district partners. That's an intentional investment that even after the World Cup, our commercial district partners have the capacity to continue to do the work that they do in our commercial corridors that are gateways to communities. Secondly, we are investing in technology. We have laid 16 miles of dark fiber underneath the Beltline that's allowing us to bring digital kiosks. That is going to stay after World Cup. We are investing in small businesses through our Beltline Business Ventures, through our Second Saturdays, through our Beltline Marketplace. We have built this infrastructure to be able to catalyze community, commerce, connectivity for events like FIFA World Cup and beyond. So this is just one of many opportunities that which the Beltline is built for the city of Atlanta. And so we're excited about FIFA, but we're going to go way beyond FIFA. And the Bell Cup is changing the way the Atlanta does business and how community gets connected. So we're excited about that.
Awesome.
Yeah, and I just have one. I'm basically piggybacking off of what Kelvin just said. Any of the programs that I mentioned that Invest Atlanta is kind of implementing, you don't see World Cup, you don't see FIFA in the name. We're implementing them to stay long term. Maybe technical assistance might change, you know, all that stuff. But the grant program, the app, all of those things are being created to stay, to generate, you know, and help small business.
Well, can I add one thing too? Yes.
Yes, you may.
It has been very important for the mayor to also say that a lot of the things that as these large scale events come, they'll ask you about, we have this initiative or this plan here, right? And we needed them to know that some of the things that you're concerned about, we've been doing for decades. We have offices in place for that. So when they came in and said, well, what is your human trafficking? We've been doing that work for decades plus. Well, you know, want to make sure what's your unhoused plan? Well, hey, we have a plan for our unhoused that's outside of whatever's FIFA doing. I have to go into meetings and just say, how do we FIFA-fy this? But we have certain plans already in place that are long-standing. The work that our city council and mayor are doing with the unhoused is amazing. So we have sustainability plans that are there for 2030 and 2050 that we already have in place that we just have to FIFA-fy for. So the lot of stuff that we're happening, we in these rooms and we meet with those folks, we're letting them know that we're already doing the work. So we're doing that work regardless, and I think that's why they come here, because they're like, well, you're way easier to work in these other cities because we're going to be doing it on a day-to-day basis. So it was big for our messaging that would go out is that, yes, we're glad that you're here, but we're not trying to change this stuff around just because FIFA's here. We're moving this thing forward regardless. So I just want to make sure to say that.
Thank you so much. So we are at time, but every time I moderate a panel, I always ask my panelists one final question. What's your favorite place on the Beltline?
So I found myself going to West Side Park for guided meditation all throughout the summer. And so I was able to connect with the park and see. I got back into roller skating because I saw people doing it while I was doing and I was like, I used to love that. And so I just have a special connection to the park and then all of the different activities you get to see just by being there.
Mine is, what's the spot? Macho something. They got the little good breakfast burritos. It's right over.
Muchacho.
There you go, muchachos. Yeah, that's my favorite spot. It's not too far, so I can get the burrito and then head on with my bike. So yeah, that's my spot.
What about you, Aaron?
For me, I have two little girls that are heavy into the arts. So we're always on the West Side Trail between Ponce and Krog City Markets, where all of the art is and all of those good things. So bright colors, they just love it. So we're always over there.
Kelvin?
You said you were gonna ask me a hard question. That's the hardest question because, I'm gonna get in trouble whatever side I pick. But I gotta say, we have a city council member here, so the west side is the best side.
Yes, west side is the best side.
But more importantly, though, I think the west side, Natalie, to answer your question, we're going to do probably our most important work on the west side of Atlanta for the Beltline. So that, to me, is my favorite part of the Beltline, because this is where the hard work exists. So.
Well, that's my neighborhood. I live in Howell Station on the west side, so the west side is the best side. So give it up for our panelists one more time. Thank you so much. We're right at time.
Hold on, and give it up for our moderator. Don't act like, yeah.
You're too kind, thank you. So we have one Beltline announcement to make for our workforce development programs. Remember how I said that we like to provide tailored services to our businesses? Well, we can't do that without input from you all. So we are looking for workforce development partners. So if you'll take a moment to fill out this questionnaire, your input's going to help us understand what workforce support is needed around the Beltline, and we'll be able to form our programs around that. And so with that, thank you all very much. If you did not get a chance to have your question answered today, please feel free to email us at business@atlbeltline.org, and we hope to see you next quarter. Thank you.